Are you thinking of moving to the Phoenix area and wondering what the cost of living here is, especially here versus California? Well, this is the video for you. Stay tuned. We're going to talk all about the little differences between Phoenix cost of living and California.
So we get so many calls from people that are thinking of moving to the Phoenix area, and honestly, we just love it. We love taking your calls. We love being able to answer your questions, but all we need to do is hear from you. So you need to give us a call. You need to send us a message, a text, an email, however you want to get a hold of us. We are here for you, and we want to be able to answer all your questions. So we do get a lot of questions from people that are moving here from California, and they're wondering what the cost of living is. What's the difference between here and California? Well, there are some pretty significant differences, and we're going to go ahead and get those covered for you. So when you're thinking of making the move, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
So in this video, we're going to be comparing the cost of living in Phoenix, the Phoenix area, with three of the major California metro areas, which are San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. So getting it off, let's start with Phoenix versus Los Angeles. So if you make $100,000 in Los Angeles, you would actually only need to make between $61,000 to $67,000 here in Phoenix to have the same lifestyle. Or if you flip-flop that and you make $100,000 here in Phoenix, you would need to make between $160,000 to $170,000 over in LA to live the same lifestyle, which is pretty drastic change.
Yeah, those are some pretty significant numbers. So let's actually look at the differences and where they come from.
Getting a lot of our information from NerdWallet here. They have a wonderful comparison. And overall, California and LA, you will be making on average between 7 to 8% more than you will over here in Phoenix. But as we're about to see, that doesn't nearly offset the cost of living differences.
So when it comes to the cost of food in Phoenix is actually about 13% less than it would be if you were in LA. So that's pretty significant. You know, every time you go to the grocery store, you figure you have to pay another 13% or 13% less here, actually. That can add up pretty quickly. Now, when it comes to transportation costs, we're talking about things like gas and insurance. The price is even more significant. It's 21% less in Phoenix. I know whenever I drive from Phoenix over to LA, I always make sure that I fill up at the gas station before I cross the border, because I know that gas is at least $1 or more per gallon more in California than it is in Arizona.
That's quite incredible. You just go right across the border a mile or so and gas instantly jumps up.
Yeah.
Now, entertainment costs here in Phoenix are actually right about 19% lower than they are over in LA, which lets you go out and have quite a bit more fun here for your money, which is always a nice thing.
So what would entertainment costs be? Things like
going out to the movies,
professional sports
sports, going to those, going out to clubs,
dinner, going to dinner, stuff like that.
Dinner actually goes more into the food category than the entertainment. But anything that's kind of entertainment, let's say going out to play bowling, pool, going out to one of those areas, or Top Golf, go-kart racing, anything kind of like that you're going out to enjoy your evening or enjoy your day, you're going to be right about 19% lower on the cost of those here in Phoenix versus you are over in LA. Okay. Now, moving on to healthcare. Healthcare here in Phoenix is actually right about 20% lower than the cost of healthcare over in Los Angeles. And we all know those healthcare costs can rise and be pretty expensive, so that 20% is a very nice savings.
Especially when you get a little bit older, as I'm sure a lot of the population is aging, so there's obviously a lot more costs associated the older you get.
And we do have fantastic healthcare here in Arizona as well, with the Mayo Clinic, the Banner system, the Honor Health system. We have the Cancer Centers of America. Phoenix Children's is one of the best children's hospitals in the entire country. So tons of great options for healthcare, and it's going to save you some having your healthcare done here versus over in LA. Now, moving on to the average public school rating, which we got from greatschools.com. California overall by them is ranked LA is ranked 4 out of 10 for public schools, versus Arizona's actually ranked 5 out of 10. So our public schools are ranked slightly higher. That's going to be 10% higher for those of you out there wanting to know than LA, which is always a nice thing.
Yeah, no, would say that probably the biggest cost difference is going to be the cost of housing. So the cost of housing in Phoenix is going to be about 53% less than it is in the LA area. So for example, if you look at the median cost of a home here in Phoenix, it's about $326,000, whereas in LA that's $827,000. Now you might be saying, where can you find a home like that? But again, remember, it's the median, so it includes the whole Phoenix metro area versus the whole LA metro area. So that's a pretty significant savings when you're talking about housing. So overall, the cost of living in the Phoenix area is about 33% less than what it would be if you were living in LA with the same income.
Yep, absolutely. And then if you take into account, as we mentioned earlier, with the average wage and income in LA only being about 6 to 8% higher than here, that 33%,
Wow.
if you combine that in, you're still saving well over 20% by moving over here versus LA overall, which is definitely a nice plus. I mean,
Sounds like it might be a good option for you if cost savings is something that you would be interested in.
I know I always like saving money and spending less for living
sure.
daily life.
So now let's jump down to San Diego. So if you currently live in San Diego and wanted to move to the Phoenix area, you would only need to make 69% of what you were making in San Diego to be able to have the same standard of living here.
So, and then getting into the nitty gritty there for San Diego, the transport cost here, which again is that gas, insurance, and all those kind of things, is about 23% lower here in Phoenix versus San Diego, which is
So a little less than, or a little more
bit more.
than LA, yeah.
LA was right about 21 versus 23 in San Diego. Then moving on to food. Food here is 13% lower versus LA, which is right about equal to the cost over in LA, but still a nice savings. Entertainment here is 16% lower than it is over in San Diego, which is makes San Diego right about 3% lower than LA. Which is always a nice thing.
And then when it comes to healthcare, the healthcare costs here are less than they are in San Diego as well. It's about 19% lower here in the Phoenix metro area. And again, just like in LA, the biggest cost difference is going to be in housing. In San Diego versus Phoenix, it's about a 50% difference. A little less than it is in LA, but still pretty significant. So the median cost for a home in San Diego is about $799,000, and again here in Phoenix it's about $346,000 for the median. So overall,
that means the cost of living here in Phoenix is right about 31% lower than it is in San Diego, which means San Diego is only about 2% less expensive than it is to live in LA, which is kind of surprising, but you know. Again, you're saving quite a bit if you're thinking of moving over here to Phoenix and you're living in San Diego right now.
All right, now let's head up north to San Francisco. So if you were making $100,000 in San Francisco and you moved to the Phoenix area, you would only need to make $49,000 to have the same standard of living.
Yeah, which is pretty significant difference right there. And then getting into the nitty gritty again for San Francisco, transportation cost down here in Phoenix is right about 29% lower than it is up in San Francisco. Food here is also about 21% lower than it is up in San Francisco. So again, good cost savings just right there in the daily task of driving around and getting your groceries and going out to eat.
I guess it's a good time to go on a diet.
Absolutely. The entertainment costs here in Phoenix are right about 34% lower than they are in San Francisco. Again, lets you have a bit more fun for your money here, makes your dollar go a little bit longer. And then healthcare is actually 30% lower here in Phoenix as well than it is over in San Francisco. So once again, your money's going quite a bit further than it is over in San Fran.
So not surprisingly, the cost of housing is a huge difference between San Francisco and Phoenix. It is 70%. So the median price of a home in San Francisco right now is $1.26 million. And again, in Phoenix, it's $346,000. Now that's the median. Obviously, we know that there's tons of very, very expensive homes in the San Francisco Bay Area. So definitely you get way more home for your money if you're looking in the Phoenix area. So what does that mean overall?
Overall, that means your cost of living here in Phoenix is right about 50% lower than it is over in San Fran. That's a big jump there. It's also a surprise that you could buy almost 4 median-priced
Wow.
houses here in Phoenix versus just one up in San Francisco, which is
Yeah,
kind
so
of
I
crazy.
mean, that would be maybe a good time to diversify. Maybe you get a single family home and then maybe you can get a couple investment properties if you chose to sell your home in San Francisco and move to the Phoenix area. Lots of choices for you here.
Absolutely, and I know San Francisco, same with LA, they do have large tech industries, but we are becoming a big tech center as well. So a lot of incentive for coming down here if you're living in one of those California areas. Plus, you can save yourself quite a bit of money. So that about covers it for the cost of living differences of Phoenix here versus California, specifically those 3 cities we mentioned, San Diego, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And if you have any other questions about that, again, please reach out to us. More than happy to get more into the nitty gritty or answer any other questions you have about moving here or just anything about the Phoenix metro area in general.
Yep, we're here for you. So all you need to do is you need to send us an email, send us a text, a DM, however you want to reach us, we are here for you.
Now, if you did like that video, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already, I don't know why you wouldn't, subscribe. And then make sure to get that bell on. If you hit that bell
yeah.
icon,
Yeah.
you get notified of all our
Ding,
future
ding, ding.
videos. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see ya.